because the 5-team and Kyle Larson getting their third win of the season. It was Larson's 20th win with Hendrick Motorsports and 26th career overall in the NASCAR Cup Series. And oh, by the way, he takes the points lead. Ladies, what did you make of the 5-team in terms of racecraft on the track, strategy from the pit box? It seemed pretty flawless to me in a race that was anything but for the majority of the field.
I couldn't tell whether it was Cliff or Kyle who said at the end of that, great car, great team, great strategy. It was like, but they have it, and it's every week with that crew. One thing about Hendrick Motorsports that is just constant and has been over their entire evolution is the fact that they can come back from adversity better than any organization I've ever seen. The 48 was notorious for it. The 24, when you think about the iconic Hendrick cars, and now it's the 5. And it's just whatever they do. And Larson is not your typical racer. He knows absolutely nothing about what's going on underneath the hood. It's a plug-and-play driver. And when he gets in, he does incredible things. And Cliff just points him in the right direction, and he goes.
I think the one thing, to kind of bounce off of that, Lee, is to say that they have 100% trust in each other. You mentioned the fact that he doesn't know what goes on under the hood. And to a certain extent, not a whole lot of the strategy that's happening on the pit box either. I mean, after the race was over yesterday, he says, in his cool down lap, I didn't know what was happening there. I was confused on the strategy. And Cliff just tells him, just go be you. And that's what he did. Even, the folks in the booth and the media were thinking there's no way, if he pits now that he's going to be able to come back and win this, because clearly Chris Buescher not having to pit, he's going to be the guy in the catbird seat. He's going to be, unable to pass. And Kyle thought there for a little bit too, that there would be a time sooner than what it was that the tires would start to equal out. And he said it was starting to happen, but luckily for him, it took a little bit longer than he thought he would. And he was able to make up all of that ground, after having pit and gotten those fresh tires. So the trust between the two of them, the trust from Kyle that Cliff is going to make the right call and going to have the right strategy, and the trust from Cliff that Kyle is going to just be lights out in the driver's seat is immense. And that's, I think, what makes the two of them such a great pairing.
Now I'm looking at the point standings after Sonoma. Kyle Larson is your leader. Chase Elliott moves up to second. He has 14 points back. Denny Hamlin falls from the lead entering the race to now falling 26 points back, sitting third in points after blowing up on lap 2. Tyler Reddick is in fourth, minus 49 points. It's interesting. I bring up Reddick because that battle towards the end of stage 2 with Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson, I really thought that 45 car might have been the strongest on the track after the 22 of Joey Logano had his issues. And it seemed like Tyler Reddick's car was never the same after that battle with Kyle Larson. They really traded more than paint, and Tyler thought something was really wrong with the car. And they said, guys, if the tire's not down, stay out on the racetrack and keep fighting. But that 45 car was never the same. But you bring up Buescher winning stage 2, eventually we knew Buescher was going to have to pit. But Larson starts that final stage, and you thought no one is safe because of all the yellows, and he's mired back there in like 27th. And to methodically watch him just pick traffic off the way the 45 could not. And again, I don't know how severely damaged or not Tyler's car was, but it's 27th, it's 19th, it's 17th, it's 15th, it's 13th, and then they cycle out on pit stops. Larson is fourth, he's third. With 9 to go, he passes Truex for the lead and sets sail. It was a brilliant drive, and Larson has won at Sonoma and done amazing things there before. That might have been the best race, the most flawless race of the 5-team I've ever seen start to finish.
Look, when somebody points to the next-gen car and says you can't pass in this car, just point them to Kyle Larson on any given Sunday, because he's going to be passing some race cars. And he passed a lot of race cars yesterday in Sonoma. You're right. He gets in the car, he flips a switch, and it is lights out for everybody else. And it was an amazing drive that he was able to do. You're right. I thought there were parts of that race where I thought this is Tyler Reddick's race to lose. But that just shows you how quickly the complexion of a race can change based off of, circumstances that happen. Cautions coming out, not coming out. Nobody expected that third stage to go green and for the strategy to play out the way that it did.